back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, January the 18th, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hi, everybody.
Howdy.
How is everybody on this fine evening?
Is it Thursday night? Is it Friday? Is it Wednesday?
It's Wednesday, I believe.
It's Wednesday.
Last I checked, yeah, Wednesday the 18th. It's in a few hours it'll be Thursday. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Generally the way it goes, most of the time anyway. Sometimes it goes backwards, but depends on what you're doing. Time doesn't stand still though, except in a Rush song.
All right, we're off to already got an
blazing
obscure reference.
Yeah, gotta love it. Got something for you. Saw this. I took a screenshot of this only because I had to. Now I use Adobe Photoshop. I did in graphics and some other things and some other Adobe products as well. But I was not on any website. This was not in an email. This was in Facebook. And you know how your phone, and your computer, gather certain cookies and everything else. So they see what you do and everything else. But there was an advertisement for Adobe Photo, like stock photos. Okay. And it popped up in my Facebook scroll while I'm looking, right? And here it is. And I'm just trying to figure out, and I know what they're doing, but this is a very odd, to me, it just struck me as a very odd Adobe stock photo, because you might misconstrue what they're doing based on the dress and what,
It's just two beautiful women jackhammering each other's ass. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I didn't say anything's wrong with it. It just struck me as odd.
That's a new
For an Adobe
image.
stock photo.
From what I understand, this will cost you about $300 for a half hour, $450 for an hour.
Gotcha. Anybody wants to see the picture, please go onto the Facebook page or our YouTube channel at around 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You can see it. So, the dress she's wearing, the clothing she's wearing, I should say, it's interesting. But I agree with you. $350 an hour or $450 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good stock photo. It could go for almost anything,
Exactly.
We should put some of those up on our measly social media. Maybe we'll get some people.
We'll get some attention.
Listening.
Exactly.
I don't think I would need an hour of that.
15 minutes tops. I'm good.
No, they don't. Definitely not.
Is it prorated? Because I don't feel like paying $350.
No.
I'm thinking 2-3 minutes tops.
Well, yeah. It's.
I'll give you 100.
That's not bad. 2-3 minutes.
You'll have to talk.
Would you take 100?
You'll have to talk to the lovely tattooed woman with the massage jackhammer.
Alrighty. I just thought that was interesting. All right. Another thing that I came across, new White Claw flavors are coming out.
New White Claw?
White Claw, the seltzer, the hard seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? New White Claw flavors are coming out. Here's the list of them. There's 5 new flavors coming out.
Sawdust?
I'll read them to you. Here we go. All right. First one is transported in a truck near bananas.
That's the name of it?
That's
Is
the
this
name of it?
serious?
No, that sounds
All right. These are new flavors. Transported in a truck near bananas.
a little generic.
The next one is hint of lime.
Okay.
Next one is single Skittle dissolved in water.
This is obviously a joke.
Obviously.
That sounds tasty.
Shy watermelon.
Uh-huh.
And then the last one is imagine like a strawberry, but with low battery.
Yeah.
Is that shy or chai?
Shy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not
A chai flavored White Claw. Now you're really talking.
Chai watermelon would be at least interesting.
Chai watermelon kombucha claw. Yeah.
That might actually be interesting. But yeah.
Hey, look, you can make fun of White Claw all you want. Whoever created that and marketed that is
a genius.
Yeah, because they're just selling low calorie or fairly low calorie fermented battery acid to the masses.
Low calorie, yeah, just ridiculous.
No, good for them.
I mean, look,
Costs nothing to make.
there's
It's all
as
marketing.
there's as many beers and other drinks that taste just as shitty as White Claw. So
Have at it.
everybody needs their version of Coors Light.
This is very true. All right. Let's get to let's jump into just a quickie. What do you think?
Sure.
I don't know.
We still need a sounder for just a quickie.
Well, it's not quick at all, just a quickie.
There we go. All right. Here we go.
We do have a photo for just a quickie, though.
We do have a scroll.
You could use the photo that you showed us earlier.
There you go. All right. Let's get to just a quickie.
Photo.
There we go.
That's
Just
what we
a
use.
quickie.
That's what we use the photo.
Actually, I
for.
think we should show that for everything that we do.
I think
Just
Now
like-
it's time for our NFL analysis.
I think if you continue to cover me with that photo, things will improve for this podcast.
I think you might be right. You might be onto something. We'll have to use that.
I mean,
We'll have to use it.
I'm serious. I would just let me talk through the we can put some lips on the buttocks of the
Yeah,
massage recipient.
You can find a way to put that photo over you, and then just have your lips like those old videos where the mouth.
Sure.
Anyway, all right. Just a quick
For 2023.
Pat's lips.
Literally. He's not talking out of his own ass now. He's talking out of someone else's.
He's talked out of his own ass for many years. Now he's going to try something new.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. All right. Just a quickie. Pete, let's start with you. Here we go.
okay.
True or false? The Knicks will make the playoffs.
True.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I believe they will.
There you go. Okay, hold on one second here. True, cool. And Harry, same question.
Same question. Most likely.
Most likely. So not true or false. You got the seldom used most likely answer.
Look, the Knicks are. Yeah, I'm going to say most likely. I think they will, but it's most likely.
Gotcha. I'll go with the most likely true too. And then it might be the 10th seed, but they'll still make it, I think.
Right. If it was 8 teams, I would say maybe not. There's currently, kind of tied for 6th or 7th, depending on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Or 1 game out of 8th, 3 games,
Right.
I think they will. I think that they'll keep enough distance between themselves and Atlanta and Chicago. Although, God, do we think Toronto will actually not make the playoffs? Who knows? Yeah, if I had to pick yes or no, I will say yes. The Knicks will make the playoffs.
That sounds good. All right. Back to Pete. True or false? The Nets will be the 1 seed in the playoffs.
False.
All right. Harry?
I don't think they will be the 1 seed. I do think that they will probably be the 2 or 3 seed.
All right. So false on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think Boston's too consistent, but I wouldn't, 9-1 in their last 10.
All right. And one more true or false for you. Let's go back to. We'll start with Harry on this one. True or false? The Nuggets will be the 1 seed in the playoffs.
I don't think so. I think they will be in the top 3. I think that they are just too thin to maintain what they've been doing over the course. They've also had a lot of games at home. They have to play a bit more on the road. I think that they'll probably fall to the 2 or 3 seed, but that's fine.
Gotcha. All right. Pete, same.
I think they will actually.
True.
They will not stay there the entire time, but they will stumble a bit, but they will rally and regain the top spot before the regular season is over.
Oh, well, I think that at some point they will be back in the number 1 seed. You're talking at the end of the season?
End of the season. Finish when
End
it
of the
goes to
season.
playoffs.
No, I don't think they'll be the 1 seed.
Yeah,
I think they will.
I do.
Okay.
I agree with Pete on that one. I think they will be the 1 seed. All right. I think the West is a little better for them this year. I think they'll be able to do it. So that's just me.
We
But what
shall
do I know?
see.
We shall see. All right, cool. All right. So how has your? I mean, we're beyond halfway through January already, guys.
I know the year's over.
It's almost like I feel like I lost a week somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
I saw Halloween decorations up in the store the other day.
The back to school I saw before Christmas, but it wasn't back to school for January. It was back to school for September.
Back to something, yeah.
Exactly.
Back to the future stuff. I was so far ahead that it's I'm behind.
Exactly. Well, that's what I always said about seasonal creep. Hopefully that it keeps getting so much earlier that it eventually backs up onto itself, and it's
seasonal creep.
Seasonal creep. That's what they used to call me
Yes.
back in the day.
Yeah, just seasonally though.
Right.
Much creepier in the spring and fall.
Exactly.
A good portion of the year is okay, but
most of the year it's all right, but seasonally.
His skin, his super tight knee length light denim shorts made him less creepy in the summer.
that they did. All right, let's jump into the quiz, shall we? Not the rapid fire quiz, which is slower than this one, but the regular quiz.
Yeah.
Tonight's quiz is top New York Jets defensive players from 1980 through 2000.
Oh God.
Top New York Jets defensive players from 1980 through 2000. Write these down. I'm going to give you 6. 4 got to stay, 2 got to go. You know the drill. Write these down. Here we go. Mark Gastineau.
Ooh, the magic mullet.
Mr. Mullet himself. Joe Klecko.
Oh, the man, the myth, the legend.
Mm-hmm.
The Rhodes Scholar, Joe Klecko.
Mm-hmm. Marty Lyons. Okay. Marvin Jones. Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn, the astronaut?
Aaron Glenn, yes. John Glenn's son, Aaron.
John Glenn, that's it.
John Glenn's son, yeah. Aaron Glenn. And Abdul Salam.
Abdul Salam?
Abdul Salam.
What if I only know 2 of these guys?
Well, then you'd be like Pete on most other quizzes.
Well, that's one more than I know.
This is top, right? You did say this is the most obscured defensive line people from the 80s.
This is
okay.
Top defensive defensive players from 1980 to 2000.
Otherwise known as a few guys you might have heard of.
Marty Lyons. I think I had him as a accountant for a while.
Hey, all right. Well, use your best.
He was in the Wizard of Oz.
He was. If ever a wonderful whiz there was. But anyway, so Mark Gastineau, Joe Klecko, Marty Lyons, Marvin Jones, Aaron Glenn, and Abdul Salam. Radio Pete, start us out.
Well, you have to keep Kleckovision, of course.
Of course.
Aaron Glenn was Revis before Revis was Revis.
Mm-hmm.
Marty Lyons is an iconic Jet.
Mm-hmm.
Never a Pro Bowler. 43 sacks though. Lyons and Salam played with Klecko and Gastineau, right? Didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Weren't they like that classic
part of the sack exchange?
Yeah. And who was it? Aaron Glenn was a cornerback.
Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
And Jones, linebacker.
Marvin Jones, yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you anything about Marvin Jones's numbers or anything. I guess I have to. I guess I have to keep Gastineau too.
But do you think Gastineau is better than Klecko? No.
Well, he's keeping Klecko.
Yeah, keep.
Well, I know.
No, I don't. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
My gut tells me Gastineau had a couple of really good years, but overall,
He had a few good years. He had a few.
He's
good
he's iconic though. That's the thing.
Right.
I think
his mullet is a bit of iconography from the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I guess unfortunately, Jones and Salam have to go.
Jones, and so you're keeping Mark Gastineau, Joe Klecko, Marty Lyons, and Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
All right. So you didn't give up on Aaron Glenn when the Jets did and sent him to Houston.
Aaron Glenn's great.
Mm-hmm.
What did he play in the 90s?
Played in the 90s, and then into the 2000s, he got sent to the expansion draft to.
Right. He bounced around for a while after that too.
And he got mad at the Jets. He really got pissed off that they sent him there. Anyway.
Well, I think Glenn and maybe Klecko and Gastineau, if I'm not mistaken, are the only Pro Bowlers on this list. So you got to keep Aaron Glenn. Is it my turn or am I?
It's your turn. Yes.
Yep.
Marty Lyons does not jump out at me as being all that remarkable, so I'm going to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Jones or Salam. That's the question. Decisions. I'm gonna keep Salam in there just to give him a little bit of a vote. Get rid of Jones.
There you go. All right, so you're keeping Gastineau, Klecko, Glenn, and Salam. You're getting rid of.
I thought about keeping the whole defensive line together, but I don't know. There's something just about Marty, the name Marty Jones. I just can't keep him. So,
gotcha. Cool. All right.
I will preface that my choices this week are based on absolutely no knowledge of
their play.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All I know is that Aaron Glenn was probably the best out of all of them. Maybe Klecko.
Klecko's probably the best of all.
I'd probably put Klecko.
Klecko. I would go Klecko, Glenn, Gastineau, Salam, Lyons, Jones is how I would do that.
Yeah. I always thought Klecko was a little overrated, but he did win like NFL Defensive Player of the Year, didn't he?
Yeah.
All right.
He was a monster.
He was good. Big. Yeah. So cool.
All right, Joe Klecko.
All right, Joe Klecko, the man, the myth, the legend. All right, cool. That's our quiz for this week. Next 2 weeks from now will be top New York Giants defensive players from 1960 through 1980. So,
oh boy,
and I'll be
going back.
Y.A. Tittle.
Does Mark Gastineau still have a mullet?
I believe he does.
Excellent.
I believe he does.
I don't think so.
No, that's really
he was in kind of poor health for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, just I remember him doing. He was doing ads for like some sort of it was like where they take a whole boatload of vegetables and like compress it down into a pill so you get all the vitamins and minerals all in a.
Yeah, what happens when you swallow the pill and then they explode back out into the
and then you get a full. So but he was
that's called vegetable.
Suffering from some health issues.
Gotcha.
I don't think he has a mullet, but much like Michael Bolton, I see a ghost of a mullet.
It's a ghost mullet.
Yeah, I think you see it even though it's not there.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. All right. Any new interesting things on the horizon there with you two gents? Anything happen? Any new happenings?
Are we doing the podcast?
I just was.
You mean personally or
personally?
No.
No, sports. We'd bring it up,
no,
I didn't think so.
Started?
I say that as I'm going to clicking a couple of windows to get to a couple of things.
You're trying to stall some time.
Exactly.
Nothing new other than I now know 6 jets from the 80s to 2000s.
There you go.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right.
I will say that Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
this coming Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
begins the audition process for my child.
Very nice. Very nice.
His
Which college is he starting with?
we'll be going to Hartford
Hartford.
on Sunday.
Gotcha. Very nice.
You're going to Hartford. Very nice. By choice?
Well, yeah, he's got an audition.
He's got his audition at the college, yeah.
Very
get into the
what college is Hartford?
Well, it's the University of Hartford, but they have the music school, the Hart School. It's their school of music and theater and stuff.
How far is Hartford from where you're at? It's actually not that far, is it?
No, it's a couple hours.
Mm-hmm. It's actually about the same for him that it is for me being down the coast a little bit, because I got to come up. He's got to come in and then go up. So
yeah, or take the you could take the ferry, but
I was just by Hartford a couple weeks ago. So.
Yeah, it's nice. We were actually there. I think it was in December. It was, we did a little college tour. Remember that week? It was like 60 degrees.
Yep.
In the middle of December.
Mm-hmm.
So we were there, and I'm like schwitzing, before. And I'm like, nah, you go on the college tour. I'm not staying in the dorms. I don't need to see what they're like.
Right.
I'll sit here on the bench in the 72-degree weather and eat apple cider donuts. You go ahead.
Enjoy.
But we liked it there. They have a great professor there. He's really, really, really good trombone player. And
nice.
So
nice. Cool.
So we had a lesson when we were there in December. So I liked it a lot.
That works.
So that's number 1, and then we just have like 5 or 6 more.
Gotcha. Well, keep us
the next month and a half.
Yeah, sure.
Is he going to stick with the trombone or whatever it is?
Yeah, that's what he's going for.
Yeah. Well, keep us abreast of the situation as you mosey from one college to the next.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm very happy. We're still waiting to hear from one place, but he's gotten auditions everywhere that he's applied, which is wonderful.
That's great.
But with his older brother, he was going for composition, so he had a couple of interviews he had to go to, but mostly it was just submit some compositions,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But this is like you got to apply to the school, and then you have to apply to the music school, and then you have to go and audition. And I'm like, I don't want to drive to Potsdam again. I don't want to drive up to Rochester again.
What school is what's the furthest that he's applied to?
Probably either Potsdam or Fredonia.
Okay, so nothing too far.
No, I mean it's 6 or 7 hours.
Right. A little bit of a haul, but nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
No, but Potsdam is especially rough because you get like probably about the last hour to hour and a half is all like back roads because it's in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Right.
So you get off like sort of the thruway, the 90 extension. And then you're like, we made the mistake of driving up at nights, and there's like roads with no lights, and there's some houses here and there. And we were like driving up. It was 8:00, but it was wintertime, so it's dark. And we're like, man, everybody goes to bed early. And I think it's just houses that don't have people in them, so the lights aren't on.
Just off, yeah.
But it's all these twisty, turny country roads with no street lamps or anything. And it's an interesting drive.
Gotta love it.
At least when it's dark. It's nice during the day.
Well, you'll know next time you're going up there. You're obviously going today. That's all. So
yeah.
But all right. Well, keep us aware of everything.
So that's
definitely
new.
Want to know, because he's been unknowingly on the podcast quite often.
Yeah, that's true.
So and could very well yet be on tonight.
This is true.
Yeah, it's a possibility. It's getting late.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Rapid fire. Here we go. Ready?
Okay.
All right.
Yes. No. C.
You
Chad
win.
Pennington.
Done. Chad Pennington. That's it. That's your answer for everything. One of these days, I'm going to ask you 6 questions that the answer's all Chad Pennington. I guarantee
gonna
you.
get 5 of them
you
wrong.
still get 4 or 5 of them wrong.
Plus, you're gonna go. This quarterback was blah blah blah. Chad
Penning.
Johnson.
This quarterback was the original Chad Pennington.
What's Chad Pennington's name?
All right, let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right, Pete, you're up first. Here we go.
Chad Pennington still in the Panthers? I mean, Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold.
He's
Sam
a free
Darnold.
agent now.
Is he? Yeah.
Sam Bradford.
Free agent, yeah.
He's free
They
agent.
can bring him and Geno Smith back.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. You guys got it covered. Just
Yeah,
like
Mark
have,
Sanchez, you're all ready to go.
have like a 6-man rotation, like baseball.
But in football, you can take him out every other play. You can't,
Like, I mean, think about it. Like, this guy's best against this team. This guy's best against this team. You know, it's just
it's an interesting.
Yeah, like a third down quarterback and
have a
First
fourth
down
quarter. Bring in the
first down
receiver.
handed off quarterback.
you got a third down running back.
If it's
Why
a
can't you have a third down
blowout, you bring.
quarterback?
If it's a blowout, you bring in Joe Flacco to eat up a couple quarters.
He's a free agent too.
I know, but
Exactly.
he should be the 6th string. Yeah.
Actually, make him the quarterback's coach, and then he can just suit up in an emergency.
In an emergency, there you go.
Or when it's a blowout. Joe, we're up by 35 here, heading into the fourth.
He's a player coach.
Right.
So he can
Yeah,
just do that
suit
whenever.
Yeah.
You're going in. All right, here we go. Just to remind you, 2 weeks ago was the closest Pete's gotten. 5-4 he lost. He only lost by 1 2 weeks ago. So here we
I
go.
think this is the week he wins.
This is it.
I
Here we
don't
go.
think so.
Or at least a tie. So here we go.
We can hope for it.
All right. So Pete, here we go. Your first question is this. Here we go. And by the way, the questions are geared towards. You'll see a theme. It's geared towards the playoff teams from this year.
Chad Pennington.
They're all geared towards Chad Pennington now.
Player's named Chad.
We're all scared towards obscure Jets
Right,
who
exactly.
had mullets in the 80s.
But they're all like playoff teams from this year. Some have lost already. Some have won already. Some haven't played already.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Just the questions are regarding from there. So here we go. So, all right, Pete, your first question. Here we go. Who was the head coach of the San Diego Chargers in 1980?
I'll say Don Coryell.
That would be correct. You got
Air
your
Coryell.
first one. Air
Air
Coryell.
Coryell.
Mhm.
I had to think what his first name was. I didn't think it was Air.
Air, it wasn't Air.
It's not Air. Oh, that
Dan-
was Coach Coryell.
Dan Fouts' best friend.
Well, that's what. If you said Coach Coryell, I probably would have said, "Yeah, you're right."
Who was the coach? Coach Coryell.
There we go. All right, Harry, your first question. Here we go.
Yes.
In what year did the Cincinnati Bengals begin playing football? There were several teams that year, so it's not an odd.
Were they an expansion team?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, that's not secret. Yes, they were.
'60s, I think. Right? No.
You got to put a year to it, but
Keep asking for hints.
I'll go with my birth year. 68.
68 is correct. You got it right. Look at that.
That was a lucky guess.
It was good. All right, here we go. Back to Pete. Here we go. In what year did Art Modell move the old Browns to Baltimore to become the Ravens?
But that seems like it was just yesterday.
That's a good question. What year did he move them back?
He never moved it
What
back.
So basically, the question is, what was the first year of the Ravens in
The
Baltimore?
Ravens. In
Yeah,
Baltimore.
yeah.
Ravens, when they moved them there, he gave up the rights to the Browns, and then in '99, the Browns became another expansion franchise, but they weren't expansion franchises. They just came back into the league with all the history. The Ravens were the expansion team, even though they were originally the Browns the year before.
Right. That makes it a lot easier.
What was funny is I almost said the amount of years later.
Yeah. So he gave you a pretty good hint there.
I wasn't listening.
I didn't think so.
I have no idea. So how long have the Ravens been? What year is it now?
2023.
3, yes.
I'll say
think about when they won.
See, that this is where you assume I have any idea of when things happen.
There's a very infamous spaghetti and meatball yelling of me. That
just pick a year.
Was that game?
Quick. Rapid fire.
All right. I'll say I don't know, 2000.
That'll be wrong.
All right.
Harry?
Well, I'm going to narrow it down and say it was somewhere around 94 to 97. I'm going to say 95.
The first year the Ravens became a team was 1996.
Ah!
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
95 was.
I don't get half a point.
You were right in there with the 94 to 97.
Well, yeah. Okay.
All right. All right, but you get your question now.
Oh, wow.
Harry, your second question is, what was the original name of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Didn't we have this a couple weeks back?
Maybe.
I don't think I knew it then either. Yeah, this was a question. They came from Dallas. They were the original Dallas Texans, right? Not Houston Texans. Dallas Texans.
Yeah, that would be correct. Yes, they were.
I think that was a question before.
It was a question about 9-10 weeks ago. So,
okay.
So I figured it was long enough to bring it back.
I remember it. I don't know how, but I remember it.
It was pretty good. And by the way, Pete, to your knowledge, the 2000 season is when the Ravens won the Super Bowl against the Giants, with me screaming Dilfer. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a great Super Bowl.
Thanks.
One of my favorites.
one Giants Super Bowl I don't have any recollection of. I don't even know if I watched it.
Oh, I'm sure you watched it. In fact, if you definitely did, because we talked later that night with me screaming into the phone.
Yeah, well, that could be any night I talk to you.
Well, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, after a lot of Giants games,
or not even a Giants game. Did you see that putt on the 14th hole? Jesus fucking Christ! I swear they fucking refs moved that hole and the flag and the pin. Fucking just didn't want them to win.
They lipped all the cups. Damn it,
balls.
There you go. All right. There you go. So, all right. Back to Pete. Your third question, Pete. Here we go. What stadium did the Dallas Cowboys first call home for the first 12 seasons they played?
They only played it. They only played in the. That's probably not the stadium. So they only played in this stadium for 12 years.
Played in this stadium for 12 years.
The
first 12 years, then they played in another stadium, and now they play in another.
I have no idea.
Taking a guess? Or...
I'll say the Superdome.
That would be wrong. Harry?
Well, I mean, I know they played there for a while. It was just called Texas Stadium, but I don't know. Is that it?
Texas Stadium is not it. It's wrong.
Okay.
No. The correct answer would be the Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl.
The Cotton Bowl was their home stadium for the first 12 seasons, 1960 to 1971.
I should have guessed that because I knew Texas Stadium was around longer than 12 years, but oh well.
Yeah, Texas Stadium was 72 through whenever AT&T Stadium was built. So, and who won the very first game in AT&T Stadium?
Joe Klecko.
The New York Giants.
The New York Football Giants, yes, they did. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Harry, your third question. Ready? The Giants have won 8 championships. How many different head coaches have won?
All right. So we're obviously talking about not just Super Bowls, but
Super Bowls and championships. Yeah, they've won 8 championships over the course of their history. How many different head coaches were there? No, for the winning teams.
Well, in the Super Bowl era, there was 2, right?
Correct.
So that's 2. We're going to add them up now. I have no idea about. So they obviously won 4 NFL championships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say there's 2. Was it just 1? I'm going to say 4 total.
4 total. That would be wrong. That would be incorrect. RadioPete?
I'll say 3.
3 would be wrong as well. It was 5. 5 is the number we're looking for. Yeah, Bill Parcells won 2. Tom Coughlin won 2. Steve Owen in the 30s won 2. The first one was won in 1927 by Earl Pottinger, and then 1956 was Jim Lee Howell. So there was 5.
Of course. Listen, yeah. Jim Lee Howell's last album was great.
Jim Lee Howell's last album was very good. And his father, Mr. and Thurston.
Mrs. His father, Mr. and Mrs.
His father, Thurston, his mother, Lovey, was...
his father, Colin.
Lost on that island.
They were lost on an island, exactly.
Yeah, so they won. All right. 5 was the right answer.
5 is the correct response.
All right.
There you go. All right. Pete, back to you. Your fourth question. The Bills won consecutive championships in 1964 and 1965. Who was their quarterback? It's not obscure. It's something you should know.
So it's a family member of mine. 64 and 65 Bills quarterback who won championships.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that something I should know?
Well, no, you might not know. Never mind. Just take your guess. The Bills won consecutive AFL championships in 1964 and 1965. Who was their quarterback those years?
I'll say Earl Morrall.
Earl Morrall. Good guess. He was actually on the Giants in 65, but good guess. Harry?
The only old Bills quarterback that I know of, and I'm guessing maybe he was on. Was Kemp, Jack Kemp, who was in the House of Representatives.
That would be correct. Jack Kemp,
okay.
Yes. Jack Kemp.
I didn't know he won championships. I didn't even know. I thought maybe he played for them after the merger, but I guess not.
No. He won the championship.
Senator, right?
Yep.
Was he a senator? Or he was
a senator.
No, that was the other Kemp.
That was
a senator. That was the Kemp from Jack Kemp. I think was the U.S. House of Representatives.
I believe you're right. I believe it was the House of Representatives. Yeah,
and he was in the first Bush administration too. Somehow, Secretary of Housing or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember.
Yep, 1964-65. Jack Kemp was the quarterback. All right, Harry, stays with you. Your fourth question. Here we go. What was the nickname of the Seahawks? I almost read it the way I typed it. What was the nickname of the Seahawks in 1995?
The
1985. I'm sorry, 1985.
1985. You mean the
like the other name, like the Giants were, whatever.
Yeah, not the water chickens.
No. Right.
Yeah.
What was the nickname of the Seahawks in 1985? I had typed, for some reason, 1885. Like,
that was the Steve Largent, right? The years with
Steve Largent, yes.
Jack Kemp was their quarterback.
Jack Kemp.
Somebody that looked like Jack Kemp was their quarterback. His name is on the tip of my tongue. Dave Craig.
Dave Craig, right? Exactly.
I don't know. It was something like the Blue Sea or something like that. The Blue Coast. I don't know. Blue Sea. The Blue Sea.
The Blue Sea would be wrong, Pete.
I thought it was
Seattle. Kingbirds.
The Seattle Kingbirds. No.
Seattle Kingbirds.
That would be wrong. Harry, you were very close. That was the Blue Wave.
Oh, that's right, because that's where the wave started.
Wave, right.
Oh, come on. I mean, 1 year off on Blue Wave, Blue Sea.
We gotta have a little.
Gotta get a half a point here. So.
You don't need any half points.
Jesus. Blue Wave. I remember that. That's right. Because that's where the wave started, right?
Yeah, the Blue Wave. There you go.
Fuck. I should have known that.
All right. Pete, back to you. The 49ers have set many records over the years, including most
obscure quarterbacks.
Including most obscure quarterback names. What was the most obscure quarterback?
Most system quarterbacks.
The 49ers have set many records over the years, including the most touchdowns in a Super Bowl. How many were there? What's the record?
Oh, I used to know this.
You mean in a single Super Bowl?
Single Super Bowl. Single game.
I'll say 7.
7 would be wrong. Harry?
I'm going to say 8 because I think it was the year Steve Young threw 6. Right? So I'm going to go 8.
That would be correct. 8 is the correct one. 1995, the Super Bowl in January 96. Steve Young threw 6, and there were 2 rushing touchdowns. So, yeah, there were 8 touchdowns total, 55 points they scored. What team?
The Broncos.
That would be wrong.
What year was it?
95.
95, the 49ers beat
Buffalo.
No.
Wait, was it 95 that they had the 8 touchdowns, or was it? I thought it was against the Broncos.
It was 95. No, the Broncos. That was 89.
Okay.
They never. They didn't do that then. No. That was 95. And if it was the Bills, they would have that would have been the Bills' 5th Super Bowl loss in a
Lost in a row. Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
So who did they beat up?
It's this team's only Super Bowl appearance.
No. It's not the Bengals.
No.
Oh, is it a Texas? No, it's not a Texas team, is it?
This isn't even a question. This is pretty funny. It's this team's only
Chargers. Yeah,
it's the Chargers. Yes, the Chargers. Yes, I was gonna go. They're in the they qualified for the playoffs this year. So anyway, all right. Yes, it was the Chargers, but there you go. So yes, 8 touchdowns. That's correct. All right, Harry stays with you. How many championships have the Eagles won all time?
I have no idea. Have they won? Have they won a Super Bowl? They haven't, have they?
They won a Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right. What year did they win it? Did they
5 years
lose
ago.
to the Raiders? That's right. They won it recently. So, how many championships plus Super Bowls?
Well, no. Championships. The Super Bowl is a championship. So
Okay, so NFL championships plus Super Bowl, total championships.
Yeah. Like the Giants have won 8. How many have the Eagles won of all time?
4. Yeah.
You can't believe you threw your hands up in the air and took a wild guess and got it correct. It's 4. They won 4. Yes.
Back, as you see, everybody has at least 3 championships back in the old NFL days because there's 6 teams.
That's true.
You know?
Right. So yeah, they won in 48, 49, and 60, and then again in 2017.
Yeah.
All right, Pete, back to you. What was the nickname of the original stadium the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played in?
The shithole. The original stadium the Buccaneers played in.
The original stadium the Buccaneers played in. What was the nickname of it? It was just, I'll tell you, it was just Tampa Stadium.
It was Raymond James Stadium.
Raymond James Stadium is now.
Oh, okay.
Current stadium. What was the nickname of Tampa Stadium? What was the nickname of the original stadium the Bucs played in?
I don't know. The Pirates Cove.
Pirates Cove would be wrong. Harry?
The Big Sombrero.
Big Sombrero.
No?
Really?
Yes.
Big Sombrero, yeah.
I just know that because of the design of the stadium. I remember.
It was the shape of the stadium, yeah. They called Sombrero. And Harry, what was the nickname of the Vikings defense in the early 1970s?
Purple People Eaters.
Of course. The last 2 are always easy. I figured you'd get Big Sombrero.
I only know that because I'm pretty sure maybe HOK or so. It was one of the early. It was a concrete cast in place stadium. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool. So I went there a couple years after it was built too. It was pretty young, but I remember it. It was cool. All right, so that wraps up the rapid fire quiz for today. The total tally is 1, 2, 3, 4 questions were missed. Harry has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 correct, and Pete has 1 correct. So
worst massacre yet.
Worst one yet. Worst one yet. Your worst score before today was 6-1. This is 7-1. So We'll have to work on it for 2 weeks.
I'm like the Jets. I'm spiraling downwards.
There you go. Well, you'll get it back. You'll get it back.
Yeah, I'll get back to 3.
That's all you really got to do, right? All right, cool. That brings us to this week's top 10 list.
Yay!
We have gotten there. We are here. Let's put the thing up. This week's top 10 list, we've been doing TV shows. We've been doing sitcoms from different decades. Last 2 weeks ago, we did top 10 sitcoms from the 2000s. This week, we're doing them going back to the 60s. We're going back to the 60s. Top 10 sitcoms from the 1960s. And we have 13 for you tonight. We'll kick it off. Guys, jump in whenever you want about any of these.
All right.
We'll start it off with tied for 11th in our top 10 list. Tied for 11th is F Troop.
Yeah.
F Troop. What's your favorite line from F Troop?
I don't know.
E.T.'s balloon. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite thing about F Troop was the guy's hat with the feather through it. That's my favorite thing about F Troop.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's a show that didn't age well, of course.
Well,
But
Larry Storch was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's
it didn't age
very
well.
it's very inappropriate.
Well,
these
but
days,
it was, but at the time,
yeah, I didn't hold that against
it. Was actually very liberal and trying to have a
portray Native Americans as something other than killer savages. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they were real people in the show,
right?
And
yeah,
actually the friends of
right. That was well
soldiers there and stuff.
Yeah. What was the name of the tribe?
Oh God, Fort. Well, the place that they were at was Fort Courage.
Right.
What was the name of the tribe?
Come on, you know it.
I should have done my homework on this. The Big Sombrero.
The Big Sombrero. Jack Kemp.
Jack Kemp's.
I don't know, but they have like the Play Brave Club or something like that, as opposed to the Playboy Club.
The Play Brave Club, right?
Yeah.
Pete, any idea?
No, I don't remember.
I gotta know this.
No.
Nah.
They're the Hekawi tribe.
Hekawi.
We're the Hekawi.
That's right. Where the heck are we?
Yeah. There you go. All right. So I'm tied for number 11 is F Troop. Also tied for number 11 is Car 54. Where are you?
Pete?
Nope.
There's a hold up in the
my
Bronx.
list.
Was it on your list?
It's on my
Almost
list.
was on my list. I strongly considered actually putting it on my list.
There's a hold up in the Bronx. Brooklyn's broken out in fights. There's a traffic jam in Harlem that's backed up to Jackson Heights. There's a scout troop short a child. Cruise chefs do at Idlewild. Car 54, where are you? That's the song. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So Idlewild, obviously the former name of JFK Airport. Anyway, and two of the characters in this show, you had Tootie and Muldoon, right? Muldoon was played by whatchamacallit? Fred Gwynn.
Fred Gwynn was Francis.
Francis, rather, yeah.
Yeah.
Francis Muldoon, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And whatchamacallit? Al Lewis was in the show too.
Yeah, he was another cop, right?
He was one of the other cops, yeah.
Yeah.
Tootie, Francis Muldoon's partner, wasn't Al Lewis. Al Lewis was just one of the other cops. Then, of course, they got together in another sitcom, which may or may not be further down on this list. But anyway, so yeah, tied for 11, Car 54, Where Are You? Funny show. It was actually good. If you catch an episode of it, just even go on YouTube, watch it.
Yeah, I gotta revisit that. I never really watched it.
Yeah. All right. bringing us to number 10. Number 10, Lost in Space.
Oh yeah, Will Rogers. Lost in Space is
Lost in Space.
I think that the character that best summarized Lost in Space was what was his name in real life? Who played
Dr. Smith?
Yeah. What was his name? Jonathan Harris? Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. He was fantastic. Yeah. And it had a robot. I mean, it had a robot.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I never considered this a comedy when I was watching it, because they were always in some.
It was definitely but it was definitely a comedy.
It was campy.
Yeah.
It was campy. Yeah. So,
yeah.
It's very campy. So there you go. So number 10, Lost in Space. Bringing us to number 9 would be The Addams Family. There you go. I mean, who doesn't like Cousin It?
Yeah, I mean, the Addams Family was what came first, the Addams Family or the Munsters? That's the real question.
I think they all came out around
who
the same
copied
time.
who? Yeah,
I honestly think they all came out the same. I think they came out the same year. Let's see.
Well, the Addams Family is still popular now, isn't there? A new show about Wednesday Addams. That's
Addams Family has spawned movies, other TV shows, and
well done movies and TV. Most of the time it doesn't live up to it, but the original Addams Family was pretty spectacular.
They both started in 1964, same time.
Yeah.
So the Addams
Angelica, no, she was in the movie. Who was in the
original one?
Who was the main character in the original TV show?
The Addams Family?
Yeah, who's the hold on, don't tell me. He was a pretty famous actor. The father, the more
Gomez Addams?
Gomez.
I can tell you right now.
Yeah, tell me.
I know
John Austin.
John Austin.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, they both shows had a kind of a dry humor, right? Like a sort of a wink and a nod at the camera. It was corny dad humor in a lot of ways, but that was the allure of it.
Yeah, Angelica Houston played Morticia, but Carolyn Jones played Morticia in the first one. But yeah, John Astin was the.
Yeah, she was. Morticia Addams was really, I don't know, very attractive.
There you go. Yeah.
And Lurch was
Lurch. You rang. Okay.
Yeah, they each had
Thing.
Because you had Uncle Fester and Lurch. You had Thing.
Yeah. Jackie Coogan was.
I
mean, he was famous with. He did a lot of work with. What's his name? Charlie Chaplin, right?
Yeah, he did.
He certainly was a known name at that time as well.
Exactly. It's a good show. It was funny. I always like when Morticia wanted to smoke. She just sat there and smoke started coming up from her. So I thought that was funny. Anyway, number 9, The Addams Family. All right, moving on to number 8, The Lucy Show. Makes to number 8, only getting one vote cast for it.
Well, this is let's be clear. This is not I Love Lucy.
It's not I Love Lucy.
No.
Show.
I Love Lucy was in the 50s.
Yeah, which is great. Maybe, one of the top of all time. This fell flat for me. I just, but
Pete?
Tell us about it. I don't know.
It was an interesting concept because the husbands were dead or gone, right? Divorced. One was divorced, I think, and the other was dead. But it was, Lucille Ball is one of the great comedians, however you want to say it.
Without a doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
And really, I always felt in I Love Lucy, her interactions with Vivian Vance, was always the best part. Was always better. That those best friends and neighbors was always better than her interactions with Desi.
Mm-hmm.
So this show is just it's centered around the two of them and their misadventures, and they were both, one was deadpan and Lucy had all the facial expressions and all the things that made Lucy. So to me, this was just it was a great show. It was a great show.
I
And
did.
it wasn't. Sorry, it wasn't always as ridiculous.
No.
Like I Love Lucy. There was a lot of people not understanding the obvious. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't sniff out what the fuck was going on.
Right.
That's the difference between the 50s and 60s, especially the
right.
later, because this is
you still had a lot of vaudeville making its way into some, and the like, not just vaudeville, but the like, making its way into those type of, that type of acting in the 50s was still prevalent a lot, but in the 60s it started to morph a little bit. But I agree with you. I
didn't always have to play dumb,
right?
Right,
exactly. I did like the show.
Advance the plot.
I did like the show, and if we did a top 15 list, it probably would have been one in one of those. But as would have a couple others I'll mention later, like an honorable mention kind of thing. But yeah, I did enjoy the show, but yeah, it didn't crack my top 10. But I was pleased when you put it on there, so I was like, at least it got a nod,
Yeah, and then I think there's probably a couple for me that are, classics and favorites of everyone else that I know that just never really did it for me. Right? We all have those shows that everyone else likes, and you go, I think I usually have a couple more of those.
There's one that's there's one that's probably on here which did not make my list, that always drove me nuts. I always hated it. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right. And there you go. That's number 8, The Lucy Show. Moving to number 7, I Dream of Jeannie.
Well, there you go.
I Dream of Jeannie. And I did quite often back in the day.
Still do.
Mm-hmm. That was a good show with Larry Hagman and pre-Dallas.
Well, obviously.
Way pre-Dallas.
Yeah.
And Captain, what was his?
Nelson. Major Nelson.
He was Major Nelson, but Captain Healy was his. Who was the Colonel? Colonel Bowles.
Clink.
Colonel Bowers. Right? Colonel Bellows. Colonel Bellows.
Bellows, that was it. Bellows, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bill Daly played Roger Healy. That's what it was. So anyway, there you go. Number 7, I Dream of Barbara Eden.
Yeah, this is a show that was worth watching, even if it wasn't funny.
And this falls into the category of, can we make a situation more obvious unsolvable?
Right.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, get in your bottle. That would go over well today. There's a show about a scantily clad genie who calls her husband Master.
Master, right?
Yeah.
That would go over very well today.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, all right. Number 7, I Dream of Jeannie. Number 6, we have a tie. The first one is The Munsters. And it was like a surfing song for the theme. It's great. But again, like we talked about, Francis Muldoon from Car 54 with Fred Gwynn, and Al Lewis was in it too. Here they are hooked up again in The Munsters. And I'm going to take this moment to, shameless plug, shameless photo need to put up. And Pete will know right where this picture was taken too when I put it up too. So there you go.
Pete, you look horrible in that picture.
Yeah, and that's my first day on the job. I was coming off like a 2-week bender.
There you go.
I remember when Grandpa Lewis was a freak, and he definitely he was on Howard Stern a lot back then.
Yeah. But this was. What was he, 92 when he's at the station, Pete?
I think so, something like that, yeah.
And he did that show, that cigar in his mouth. That this is about 2:30 in the morning. This picture was taken with me and him, and he did that show 11 to 2. He did the show. That cigar never left his mouth. It's not lit. It was never lit. He was chewing on it. Never left his mouth for the entire 3 hours. So there you go.
He was a true character, both on and off the screen.
Absolutely was. That was funny, but that show though, I mean, with Yvonne DiCarlo as What was Mrs. Munster's name? What the hell was her name?
Mrs. Munster.
Mrs. Munster. Yeah.
Lillian.
Lillian.
William.
Or Lily. Just Lily.
Lily.
Munster. Lily Munster.
Lillian, but Lily for sure.
And of course Eddie Munster, and of course Marilyn. She, gorgeous niece, just not, has anything to do with them.
Yeah.
And what was the name?
Good casting is good casting.
There you go. What was the name of the pet dragon under the stairs?
Cousin It.
No,
No,
I think it was Fang, wasn't it?
No,
Wasn't Fang?
I do know. I know this. Jesus,
Spike. No, it was Spike. Wasn't Spike?
What was it?
I'll let you two sort
Spot.
Ah, there you go.
It was Spot. Like
It was like a dragon.
It was a dragon under the stairs. It lifted the stairs, came up.
Yeah,
and
the stairs would come up and
flame came out. They shut the stairs, and there you go.
And why was Eddie Munster always dressed like a gay goth cowboy?
I don't know. Got to ask the casting and the wardrobe department from back
I will say this: what made this show, I think, rise above the rest was Herman Munster, that character, and how he played it. He was just really good at it. It was something very unique, and there was kind of like a little bit of a. It was good for kids. There was a little bit of a kind of moral, it seemed a little, I don't know. He always did the right thing. It wasn't this, I don't know. It was wholesome for a lot of everybody.
You're right. It was.
The thing about the Addams Family is like they were better than regular people and they knew it, right?
Right.
The Munsters were not.
Well, the Munsters,
but they were also not afraid.
No.
Right? They just wanted to fit in.
Their
lives, right?
I think the Munsters was a commentary on racism and immigration in the United States. That's what I think it was.
Yeah. They didn't think they were better. They didn't want to be different. They just wanted to live their lives like everybody else.
That's right. So what if they had a dragon under the stair?
Right, exactly.
So what if they were a Frankenstein and a vampire and a little gay cowboy vampire?
But I just want to point one other thing out too. Whenever you looked at Herman Munster and Grandpa standing next to each other, there was always a huge height difference, right?
Of course.
Herman Munster towered over him. Just to give you an idea of how tall, and of course he's wearing boots too, but just give you an idea of how tall Fred Gwynne was. I'm 6'4". Look at this picture again. I'm 6'4". I'm not squatting or anything, and he's standing straight up. So that's how tall that man was.
Yeah.
Fred Gwynne, I'm talking about. But yeah, it was a good show. I enjoyed it. It was definitely, one of those that you always left on whenever it came on. I haven't seen it in years. I haven't seen an episode of it in years. Because we're doing this list, I'm probably going to go cherry pick and watch a couple episodes of a bunch of different things over the next couple of days.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched an episode of any of these shows
in years. Yeah,
decades maybe.
I'd say well, we'll get to the rest of them, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But tied for number 6, The Munsters. Also tied for 6, Gilligan's Island.
Well, again, for those of you out there listening, all three of you. We did not actually see these shows when they were first on television.
No.
But as people of a certain age, we were bombarded with these in syndication. And so being boys of a certain age, I'm sure if we watch these shows as adults, we might have a slightly different, view of them.
If we were watching them for the first time as adults, we watch them now. It's all nostalgia, right? So, we're just going to love every minute of everything we're watching. But yeah, if we were watching one of these shows for the very first time and never heard anything about it, just watched it for the first time, now we might. They still may resonate decently.
That's right.
It would be it would definitely be a little different take than it was. For when we saw them.
They had a radio and all of life's luxuries, but yet they could not figure out a way of getting off the island.
Yeah. This was a.
Well, they did have a professor that knew what he was doing. The radio was the only thing that survive the.
He knew better than the others, but he was obviously not the professor because he could never get them off the island.
Yeah,
of course, had they gotten off the island, the show would have ended.
Right, and there's so many times they could have gotten off the island too. How many celebrities happened to show up on the island, but they got off?
Right.
They just
again.
They didn't take us with us again. It happened again.
Brilliant, dumb, funny television. And I just have one question: Ginger or Marianne?
Marianne every day.
All right, I'll take Ginger then.
I'm taking Ginger all day, every day.
Why is that?
Have you seen Ginger? This is what I do not understand about when people take Marianne. Marianne's great, but Ginger.
Mm-hmm. Marianne's great, but Ginger.
Right.
The only thing I can say about this show is, for all the times that Gilligan foiled their supposed the attempts to get off the island that were going to work if it wasn't for that bumbling idiot, they would have bludgeoned him to death like that kid in Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
And they just would have killed him and went, okay, now let's figure out the next way to get off now that the idiot that ruins it every time is dead.
The skipper is every dad you've ever known.
Yep.
In fact, I could say that
you could put a blue shirt and a sailor's cap on my father, and
at a certain time, I was going to say is John was Gilligan, and his dad was definitely the skipper.
He's not lying either, but that's funny.
Yeah.
I love it.
But,
anyway.
I never found it. Again, I wasn't watching it for the humor. I never found it particularly funny, but there were at least two other reasons.
It was entertaining though, because it was so over the top. All of the characters were so well done that the over the topness actually worked. Like the Howells. I mean, it was the ensemble that really made it interesting. Yeah,
absolutely. And the fact that the wife's name was Lovey.
Lovey, yes.
And he was Thurston Howell III.
I thought it was Ivanka.
Ivanka.
All right.
Number 5. No, I just got a question for you on Gilligan's Island. The Professor.
The Professor.
What was his name?
In real life?
No, not in real life. On the show, he wasn't just the Professor. Like the millionaire was Thurston Howell III. The Professor was what? The skipper was,
That's
a good question.
It was something like it was a very kind of normal name for that time period. Like Ray or something.
Close.
Yeah.
Close.
Raymond Haynes or something like that. Ray Haynes or something like that. I don't know. Ray, I don't know. Mitchell.
Roy Hinckley. It was
Roy Hinckley. There you go.
Hinckley. And what was the skipper's name?
The skipper was I don't know.
Pete?
No idea.
Jonas Grumby.
Wow.
Jonas Grumby.
Sounds like something you got to go see a dermatologist about. I haven't been feeling well, and I noticed this Jonas Grumby.
Well, listen, it's at first, I think it was the first season, the theme song, they didn't even mention the Professor and Marianne by name, right? The first theme was a movie star and the rest.
And the rest, yes. They didn't say the Professor.
On Gilligan's Island.
They added the Professor and Marianne. They added it after the first season.
They went from whatever non-entities to at least being
the movie star,
humans mentioned
and the rest.
Yeah, and the rest.
There's only two other people. You can't say.
Yeah. Like, really?
Maybe they didn't. Maybe they weren't locked into long-term contracts.
They might not, or maybe
maybe they were going to get off the island the first season and leave the rest of them
the
behind.
show is going to be a bit darker, perhaps. Than...
Who is the Professor railing though? That's really what I want to know. Come on, was it Lovey?
Skipper.
I
Could
think
be.
the professor,
Gilligan and
Right.
the Skipper always had little buddy.
the professor took some palm fronds and coconuts and made his own woman.
Yeah.
Didn't he make a robot that was going to swim or something off the island one time?
Again, yeah.
out of coconuts and palm trees.
I think he could make a sex toy for himself if he wanted to.
Okay. All right. Anyway, all right. So also tied for 6 is Gilligan's Island. All right, top 5. Here we go. Number 5, Batman.
Just phenomenal.
Necessarily
Just phenomenal.
an actual comedy, but can't be enough and so comedic.
Oh, it was definitely a comedy. I think it was a sitcom. Yeah, and it was phenomenal, and it still is. Have you watched it recently? I went on a deep dive and kind of watched it again, and it's as good as it was. It's so singular. It's so unique.
Adam West he was
and the people who played the Riddler and the Joker and
all the
Penguin,
all-star.
Burgess Meredith, the Riddler was phenomenal. I couldn't believe how good it was, and the way it was shot.
John Astin was the Riddler,
right.
From
the way it was
Gomez
shot.
Adams,
and the Joker. Who was the Joker?
Cesar Romero.
Joe Burgess.
Cesar
Romero.
Yeah.
Cesar Romero was the Joker.
It changed, I think, but yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Cesar.
Burgess Meredith was the Penguin. And who was the Archer?
Catwoman.
Who was
the Archer wasn't on very much, though.
He was a couple episodes he was on. Who was it?
Earl Morrall.
Or it was Earl Morrall. It was Jack Kemp.
Jack Kemp. That's with Jack Kemp as the Archer.
It was.
Hold on.
Sean Connery.
No. Hey there, Ruffy boy. It was Art Carney.
Art Carney. They knew that.
Mm-hmm. Art Carney. That's why I said, "Hey there, Ruffy boy."
That's right. I do remember the Archer now.
Yeah.
The Archer, though, and the Riddler seemed very similar to me.
They were. They looked almost alike.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So.
Great show, though, and the way it was shot. I mean, the color in it and everything. It was pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. Again, as deep as a shallow puddle, but very good.
It was good.
Joe Klecko was in that.
Joe Klecko was in 2 episodes.
That's right,
and with Jack Kemp, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
Enough.
That's right.
So, there we go. All right, number 5, Batman, and just so you know, pow. I just had to say.
Bam, boom, smack, bram, vroom.
All right, number 4, Bewitched.
Well, Bewitched was actually pretty clever.
Yeah, it was. Now, let me ask you this before we talk about Bewitched a little bit. Samantha or Jeannie?
You know, as much as Jeannie was the OG, I'm going to go with Elizabeth Montgomery.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Always. Mm-hmm.
I'll take Barbara Eden.
I think it's the witchy thing. I think I kind of like the witchy thing. Yeah,
better than the
Jeannie. I like a more modern witch than but yeah.
I like a girl in see-through pants.
Well, you've never seen it. You've never seen Elizabeth Montgomery after hours.
This is true. Now, but good.
Well, actually,
show.
let me ask you guys a question.
Mm-hmm.
Dick Sargent or Dick York?
Dick York. I knew you were going to say that. Dick York, definitely. Dick Sargent was good, but I like Dick York better. Dick York.
Yeah, I'll go with Dick York.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
There's something when Jim Carrey first came on the scene, he reminded me of a young Dick York. I don't know why, but he did.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Oddly enough, I can see that. But Dick York definitely. And then
pick your dick. This portion of the show is called "Pick Your Dick."
Which dick do you like better? But of course, Tabitha, right?
Hated her.
Hated Tabitha, did you?
Yeah.
Did you do the Twitch?
Never.
Never. All right.
Really tried.
I didn't either. I'm just making sure you didn't. What should we call it? Yeah. It's a good show. And then was it Larry Tate, right? Mr. Tate?
But the best character, and I think he's one of my favorite comedians of all time. The best character of all on Bewitched was Uncle Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Lynde. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So good.
I could to this day, I've actually watched outtakes from Hollywood Squares.
He is so good.
That show, he was that show. I mean, it was a game show, right? But he was that.
I feel like he had so much
tuned
more
in to see what he had to say.
I feel like he had so much more to offer, and he was so good.
Mm.
Kind of led a pretty rough life. I think struggled, with being homosexual in Hollywood, but he's a fantastic comedic actor and just one of the funniest people ever.
No, yeah, totally hysterical. Loved it. Good show though. There you go. Number 4, Bewitched. Top 3 now. Here we go. Number 3, the Dick Van Dyke Show. Dick Van Dyke. Loved everything about the show. Loved watching the show. I think I've rated this the highest. Pete, you put it your number 3. Harry, it was your number 4. It was my number 2. So
I recognize it for its impact and its significance.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch very much of it, but I did think it was good. Look, Carl Reiner. Was it Carl Reiner's first show?
Yeah, Carl Reiner.
Yeah.
Just hysterical. And then you had, there's a lot of things that came out of this show too. Like Jerry Paris. Sure. Jerry Paris was the next door neighbor, and he wound up doing Happy Days.
Well, Maury Amsterdam,
Rosemary.
Yeah,
these are all great comedic. This show is just smart and funny.
It was groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was groundbreaking. And Dick Van Dyke is probably, you got to put him in the top 3 comedic actors of all time. I think he's that. On television.
On TV, yeah. I could see that. All the time. Yeah.
Long career, and I think he's still alive.
Yeah, still going.
He's probably not as old as I think he is, but he's. I'm guessing he's got to be within 5 years of 100, right?
He's got to. Let's find out. Find out right now. We have the technology.
Jimmy, wake up.
I've renamed my phone Jimmy. He is 9. He just turned 97.
Okay. Good for him.
25. Good for him.
Good for him.
December 13th, 1925. He just a few weeks ago, a month ago, turned 97.
And look, as good as he was, Mary Tyler Moore is his equal.
Oh, absolutely.
She was and everything she's ever done. Everything she's ever done.
I think that's one of the great things about this show is you didn't have female characters that were simpletons or simply there to be a foil, right?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Laura Petrie was as important to everything that her husband was doing as he was himself. Rosemary was, Maury Amsterdam was kind of the village idiot, right? Between, you know what I mean? Of the group. Not that he played a complete dumb guy or anything, but
that
Rosemary was smart and sassy and wasn't anybody's fool. So,
and what was Maury Amsterdam's wife's name on the show? He was Buddy Sorrell. He was Buddy Sorrell on the show, but
that I don't know.
And whether it's a nickname or not, he only called her by one name, Pickles.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, but it was a great show. I loved everything about it.
I wonder how she got that name.
I don't know. I could find out. Jimmy, find out.
And wasn't there 2? Wasn't there? Didn't his wife change? Wasn't there 2 Pickles? I don't know. I could be wrong.
There was a Dill and a Clausen.
No, I'm serious. I think I remember there being two people who played her.
Let's find out.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Again, we have the technology.
Dick, and you know what was great about the Dick Van Dyke Show? The graphics.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it.
Rosemary played Sally Rogers. Jerry Paris was Jerry Helper. He was next door. Pickles.
Pickles Sherrill. Joan Shawley.
Joan Shawley, yeah. Is there another one?
And Barbara Perry.
There you go.
Barbara Perry. Barbara Perry. Yep, got it. So, Barbara Perry.
Dick Van Dyke Show coming in at number tied for 17th. Dick
Tied
Van
for
Dyke
17th.
Show.
It's our number 3, Dick Van Dyke Show. There you go. Great show though. Number 2. There we go. So number 2 would be Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan.
I know nothing. I see nothing. Schultz.
I mean, this was quite possibly the weirdest of them all.
Yeah.
And I think definitely one of the best.
It was a great show. It was hysterical. Everything about it. Richard Dawson was one of the cast members on the show.
Oh yeah. And look, if you really want to watch I forget what's the name of the movie now. Bob Crane, who starred as Hogan. There's a movie about his life in which Greg Kinnear plays him.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really dark but really good film. I don't want to, go watch it. He had a autofocus. He convinced people that he was working for the CIA and was a spy and all sorts of crazy shit. But yeah, he was quite the character in real life. Worthwhile seeing, but kind of an iconic character on TV. He was like that kind of leading man, smart aleck.
Yeah.
He was cool and calm, and he always came out on top. Showed the superiority, right? American superiority over the Nazis, right? Mm-hmm. Always smarter than them.
Yeah. Except he was a prisoner of war. The entire time he was there.
But how much of a prisoner he was? I mean, he had the run of the camp, basically.
Right. Yeah.
They had a way out, and they just came back in.
And walked out the gate. Yeah. All right. Didn't they leave a couple times and come back?
Yeah, came back.
Yeah. But I mean, if you think about the image of that situation at the time, right? Those guys were heroes and fighting against tyranny and all this, and this sort of just poked fun at it, right? Mm-hmm. And said, the Nazis weren't evil, terrible people; they were morons,
right?
And it's like they were just toying with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it funny that they were prisoners of war in Germany, in East Germany, and everybody in that camp spoke English.
Wow. So. They can't make it an American TV show unless you
I just thought it was funny. It's something you always say. But there you go. So it's a great show. I watched it many, 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 many times. Number 2, Hogan's Heroes.
Schultz. And Klink. Colonel Klink.
Colonel Klink.
With the monocle, right? Didn't he wear a monocle?
He had a monocle, yeah. And
Schultz, maybe the last monocle on television.
Probably the last monocle on television, I would imagine. Yeah. But Schultz, I know nothing. I see nothing. That was a good line from him. But there you go. Number 2, Hogan's Heroes. That brings us to number 1. Number 1, we were 100% in agreement. We were in agreement with a couple others on this list too, but we were 100% in agreement. I think this is the first time in any of the decades of TV shows that we did that we were all had the same number 1, and that would be Get Smart. Get Smart. What can you say about the show? Just great writing, great acting.
Mel Brooks at his best.
It's just hysterical. Just, I mean, Mel Brooks went from here, and the movies that he made after this were just ridiculous. But
well, this was Austin Powers before Austin Powers, but with a little bit more of a grounded reality, and just so good and so hip, and so it's so 60s.
Mm-hmm.
It's so 60s. Agent 99. I mean, again, it's just so good.
No name. She was always just 99.
And the opening sequence of the show is the best opening sequence of any television
show in history.
Time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It made fun of everything. It made fun of the good guys. It made fun of the bad guys. Bureaucracy, the ridiculousness of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the coolest woman on television in the 60s was Barbara Feldon. I mean, she wasn't as overt. She was just this kick. She was the smartest person in the room at all times, and just a stunner, and just so cool and fashionable, and
she's great. And I mean, Don Adams was just hysterical. Anything he did,
and that's the thing. Don Adams was more of like a character actor who he wasn't really a leading man. He was just really funny.
He was just really funny. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And you had Chief, because that was his name, Chief.
I always felt there was a Pink Panther element to this, even though the Pink Panther came after this.
A little bit. You know
what I mean?
Success despite bumbling idiocy.
Right. And Bernie Kopell as Siegfried.
Yeah.
I'll get you, Schmack. Before he was the doc.
Only 5 seasons. It only aired originally in 5 seasons. Yeah. Again, before most of us were born, it aired, but it was just always on in syndication.
Yeah, always. Yeah, Larrabee. I love Larrabee. Just a great show, 100%. Any of these shows that we talked about tonight, I'm probably going to take a couple hours here and a couple hours there, and just start YouTube and checking out some episodes. Just I haven't seen. I think probably the show that I've seen the most recent of all of these. I mean, it's still a long time ago, but it's probably the Dick Van Dyke Show. I want to say either that or the Munsters or Addams Family, but
that you want to start watching?
That I had seen the most recent of all of these. Many years. I haven't seen any of these in years.
For me, it's probably been I don't know.
Yeah, just
probably probably Batman.
I would say honestly, probably whatever of these shows was on Nick at Night most recently. That's the most recent of these shows that I watched. So that would probably be Dick Van Dyke too.
Here's what I also remember about this show is the guest stars. So I was just looking at a list of guest stars, and I'm not going to name all of them, but Steve Allen, Shelley Berman, Milton Berle, Ernest Borgnine, Tom Bosley, Victor Buono, Carol Burnett, Phyllis Diller, Jack Cassidy, Johnny Carson, James Caan.
Stacey Keach was on the show.
Buddy Hackett. Hugh Hefner, Bob Hope. It's Ted Knight, Martin Landau, Vincent Price, Regis Philbin, Leonard Nimoy, Barry Newman. I mean, the list. It was funny. Don Rickles. I do remember Don Rickles on there.
Oh, I remember Don Rickles.
Fred Willard. Yeah, I mean, it was a young Fred Willard.
Just scrolling through a couple of these. I remember the character Hobson on the show or whatever. Agent 51. It was Gordon Jump. He was on WKRP. And then the other one I just noticed that I didn't even see it. And I don't know how many episodes he was on, but Len Lesser was on the show. Uncle Leo from Seinfeld.
Leo
was on.
And the shoe phone. I mean, it's really all about the shoe phone.
Of course, yeah.
All right. That's our top 10.
Just great. Just
all 27 of them.
all 27 of them. There you go. All right. Number one, get smart. All right. That brings us to this week's
Dick of the Week. Dick Sargent, Dick York, Dick Van Patten,
brings us to this
Dick Van Dyke.
Brings us to this week's old balls.
You got that worked out.
Yeah, I worked it out. There you go. Harry, tell us who this week's old balls is.
Well, this week's Old Balls is a show that I probably watched more in the 80s than when it first came out in 1966. Mm-hmm. But it was, talk about an idiotic show that was so bad, it was wonderful. Mm-hmm. The Monkees. Look, as a kid, for me, the Monkees were phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And the way in which they integrated their music into the show was great. It was slapstick. It was the Beatles meets the Three Stooges. And I don't know. I just thought it was absolutely phenomenal. And I still like it. And that's this week's Old Balls. If you haven't seen the TV series The Monkees, go back and see it because it was quite spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely was. I've probably seen and, started watching. I mean, it was on syndication pretty much constantly from when it ended through the early 80s. But
they used to play for a while there. They were playing it on MTV.
They played it on MTV a lot. I remember watching it. I remember watching it in like the mid 70s when it was heavy in syndication and on from there into the late 70s. But it was a great show. I loved all the music. I mean, a lot of the music was written. Some of them. Mike Nesmith wrote a lot of stuff. They all did write some things, but a lot of the music was written by Neil Diamond and Carole King,
many others. Yeah,
Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart.
Yeah,
wrote a bunch of stuff too. So
and the Wrecking Crew played on a lot of it. It was
sure.
It was really great. I mean, those songs are great. Whether they wrote them or not is irrelevant.
They did them.
Those are some great songs. Yeah.
So
I mean that. Other than the Beatles, I don't know if there's any other bands that have this many pop rock hits that are just. I mean, you could list. They're 30 songs deep into songs that everybody knows.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Agreed. There you go. Anyway, so there you go. So that's this week's Old Balls.
Old Balls. Old Monkey Balls.
There you go. All right. That'll wrap up that section of the show. All right. We got a non-sports, just a quickie.
Non-sports. Everything's quick and rapid and
all right. We got a non-sports.
An hour and 37 minutes in.
We got a non-sports.
Meanwhile,
let's take our time with this question.
Yeah.
Your all-time favorite winter drink is?
Winter drink?
Winter drink.
Are there summer drinks and winter drinks?
Well, it's something you drink more in the winter than you do in the summer. Your all-time favorite winter drink is?
I guess I have to go with cocoa.
Cocoa. There you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say something like that, but I'm not going to because it would be a lie. I don't drink cocoa. I wish I did. I should make some cocoa. That sounds wonderful.
I like cocoa.
I like
you
cocoa.
Put alcohol in it too.
I like it. I just never make it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I drink Negronis a little bit more in the winter.
Negronis. You see that?
Sounds like a racial slur.
It is.
Hey, you fucking Negronis, go back to where you came from. That's what it sounds like.
And a bunch of glasses just turn around with sad faces, just slittering down the bar.
They'll never accept us.
Sad Campari bottles walking down the street.
Oh, I gotta love it.
That's because you've been around the age of idiots using terms like jabronis.
Jabroni.
What about you, John?
You know what? I got to be honest with you. Like old fashions is what I drink, drink wise throughout the, the colder months, if you will. But definitely in the winter, I like to make my maple black walnut old fashioned.
Look at you, you
Okay.
fancy fuck.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Maple syrup instead of simple syrup, and black walnut bitters instead of regular bitters. That's it. And then no orange.
Sure.
You just put the cherry in. That's it.
Now, do you wear
Yeah.
different jerseys in the winter than you do in the
Absolutely.
summer?
Absolutely. I got my winter jerseys. I got my spring jerseys. I got my summer jerseys. I'm good to go.
Okay. All righty then.
There you go. All right. Do we have a box?
Over
under?
I
do not have an over under.
You do not have an over under.
No, this place is a mess. And
Mm-hmm. All right. So the over under is how many hours it would take Pete to make an over under.
let me see. Let me look real quick. Nope, there's nothing in there. No, I got. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's no good.
How about I give you guys one? I got it.
All right.
All right.
All right. I have a stack. Get that out of there. I guess
This on the,
I got a
put this on the
stack-
big screen.
I got a stack of business cards, right?
Ooh.
I'm compressing them down. They're not my business cards. They're just business cards I've gotten from people, right? There's the stack right there. All right.
Hold on. One more time.
Hold on.
I wasn't looking.
All right. That's the stack. Now, give me a second. Hold on one second. I'm going to do this here.
Just count out loud.
So talk amongst yourselves while I count.
Pete, turn off your headphones, and John, count out loud.
Like you haven't won enough already tonight?
I don't. I very rarely win at the over under.
Well, this one should kind of be. You're pretty good at guessing the numbers.
I'm pretty good at visual stuff. I'm guessing it's maybe.
All right. I'm going to give you a number.
Oh, okay. That's right.
I'm going to give you a number. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Okay. So one more time. I'll just show you one more time.
All right.
All right.
This gets broadcast to the public, right?
Yes, it does. Your over under number is 21 and a half. 21 and a half.
I had a number in my mind, and I'm going to stick with that, and it's slightly under.
All right.
So I'm going to go under.
So let me write this in here. Hold on. Harry is going under.
I think that stack of cards is less.
21 and a half. And Pete, what is yours? You gonna go under with Harry, or are you gonna go over?
No, my thought would be over.
So you're going over. So Harry's under, you're over. I'm gonna hold up. I wrote the number down. I can count them in front of you if you'd like to, but I wrote the number down.
Please don't.
There you go.
23.
There you go.
I was off by 2.
You were off by 2. What was your original number was 21?
Yeah. 21.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
27 was my number.
There you go. Well, I'll show you. There's actually 3 of the cards in here are those thick cards.
I saw those. That's why I went with the slightly less. I should have went with my original thought, which was 24.
There you go. But so there you go. So that's this week's over under. It wasn't even. I couldn't even put the Pete's box over under because it was John's cards over under.
You know what?
Right.
It's still Pete's box.
If there's an over under, it's Pete's.
It's Pete's. There you go. Cool. All right. Anything else? Are we good? What do you think?
God, I hope not.
All right.
Let me see. Do we have? I thought I had something actually funny.
Oh, you did say that. Yes.
Did I?
Earlier, yeah.
Oh, let me just throw this at you. A couple things real quick. We talk about kickoffs and how the NFL doesn't want people running kickoffs back and all that, right?
Yeah.
So, how many kickoffs in this past regular season were run back for touchdowns? Any idea?
In the whole they don't want us. They don't want NFL kickoffs.
No, the NFL doesn't want returns. They
Kickoffs.
don't want
They want to go out the back.
so that's why they changed the rule, so everybody kicks it out of the end zone. So how many kickoffs were returned for touchdowns this season?
I'm going to say 1. Only because I just watched it the other day.
Harry's looking it up right now.
I'm not. I don't remember any. Could it actually be 0?
It is not 0.
All right.
Is it 1?
Wait till Harry guesses. He could also guess 1 if he wants.
Sure. Stay with 0.
I'm gonna go a little. I'm gonna. I don't know. 7.
That's pretty close. It's actually 6.
6. There you go.
6. Now, here's what I find interesting about this. 2 of them happened week 18.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Bills and the Patriots.
Naheem Hines,
Mm-hmm.
Who ran back 2 for the Bills against the Patriots.
Which
makes, combined with one other this season, makes 3, which will run back against the Patriots this season.
Really?
So 50% of the kickoff returns for touchdowns were against the Patriots.
What
this
do
past
you think the
season.
averages have been in years previously? Do you think this is the lowest ever? You think this is the lowest ever?
I think it could be, yeah, because I think
it's got to be. It's got to be.
I mean, who was Devin Hester had like 37 in 1 year, didn't he?
37 in one game.
Like
yeah,
something like that. So it was you had Hines with 2, you had Devin Duvernay with 1, Keyshawn Nixon. I don't know how to pronounce the other guy's name from Minnesota. Kene Ngangwu?
Ugangui?
Ngang, maybe. He had 1, and Cordell Patterson had 1. So
Cordell Stewart and Keyshawn Johnson had 1 each.
Yeah. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting, and
it is interesting.
It makes the Patriots look bad, so fuck them. So anyway, a couple weeks ago, the NFL players, they don't like other people judging them, so they announced the Players All-Pro team. Did you read about this?
Did not.
This is the first Players All-Pro team was announced a couple weeks ago. Was it last week? Last week, actually. Let me see. Yeah, this is from the 11th. So I'll just give you a quick rundown. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, Josh Jacobs, running back, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, wide receivers. Kelsey's your tight end. Kyle Juszczyk is the fullback from the 49ers.
Okay.
Trent Williams, Joel Bitonio, Jason Kelsey, Zach Martin, Lane Johnson, your lineman.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Jones, Aaron Donald, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, and Dexter Lawrence of the New York Giants, your defensive line. Then you got Roquan Smith and Fred Warner, your linebackers. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Derwin James Jr., Patrick Surtain, and Darius Slay, your secondary. Jason Myers of the Seahawks, the kicker, and Tommy Townsend, the punter.
There you go. Interesting team.
So this is voted on by the players. This is their all-pro team. Which, I guess, I don't know what to do with that. They don't actually get to go to the Pro Bowl or anything based on that. But
it's just a list that's put out in the ethers for people to look
just
at.
They're like this. This is who we think are the best guys. So, I thought that was kind of interesting.
It is interesting. I like that.
I think they should. Well, I mean, shouldn't that be the way it is? Actually, shouldn't the players be voting for who they think the best players are?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, makes more sense, doesn't it?
It does. Absolutely. I agree. All right.
Oh, last thing. You guys ever watch what was that show?
Probably.
Frankie Muniz. Was it Malcolm in the Middle? Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Frankie Muniz, a little star kid of that show, and made a couple of movies and stuff.
Big Fat
he's
Liar
actually,
and
yeah, the one where he was like a secret agent or something. That's not
yeah, there's another one. Big Fat Liar was a movie that was getting made, and
right.
what's his face was in it too.
Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But
he didn't have
anyway.
that much of a movie career. Anyway, he's 37 now.
Huh?
37, Frankie Muniz. And he is a big fan, and always has been, of NASCAR. And he is racing full-time in NASCAR's ARCA series for the 2023 season. This is going to be 20 races over the season. And ARCA, I guess, is kind of sort of like the junior league, I think.
Interesting.
So this is something that he's loved since he was a kid and has been doing on and off for the past several years. So he's going to do it full time, I guess, for the 2023 season. So there you go. So if you're a famous child actor, you have a hit TV series. That was a big sitcom for a number of years. You do a couple of movies that kind of go, and but you get to live out your dream now at 37. Racing is going to be first race is February 18th at Daytona.
Hey,
and that is the day
good enough for Paul Newman. It's got to be good enough for whoever you just.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's actually the day before the Daytona 500. He's going to be out there racing. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's
Second
awesome.
career as a race car driver.
Why not?
Yeah.
So,
his first adult career, but yeah, second career.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. Cool.
That's it.
All right.
Also, Naomi Osaka's pregnant.
Who?
Naomi Osaka, tennis star.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you?
Okay.
She's dating, I don't know, some rapper, I forget.
As long as it's not me, I don't care.
No.
Have you seen her lately?
Well, only on the weekends.
All right. Yeah.
So she's withdrawing from the Australian Open.
Oh.
But she says she'll be back for 2024 after she has her kid.
There you go.
So don't worry, Australia. She's kind of a darling in the tennis world.
Very nice. Naomi Osaka.
Naomi Osaka is pregnant.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, kids.
Good for her.
There you go.
Kudos. Mazel tov.
All right. That's all I got.
Yeah. All right. Harry, anything?
No, I know nothing.
You see nothing.
I don't know anything.
You know of no pregnant sports stars.
There's none at this time.
I don't.
We'll be back. We'll report more on that in a couple of weeks.
Check back next week. Yeah.
There you go. All right. On that note, we'll wrap the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with a video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. And we will talk to you next week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.